Okay, one more time. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the MILLBRAE Planning Commission for October 16th, 2023. We have an agenda, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. We can start with the roll call.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Vice Chair Quigg, and Chair Wong.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Chan is excused.
Okay. And first up on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Roscoe, if you have somebody who can help lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item up is our agenda review. If there are any comments on the agenda, we're good. Okay, then moving on to item number 2 is approval of minutes for the meeting of August 28th, 2023. And the meeting minutes were handed out to the package for the planning commissioners. If you have any questions, comments, edits.
I make a motion to approve with one typo. Lions Club in number 7 is L-I, not Y.
And that's on page
It's number 7.
7,
Page 3.
page 3.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have no further comments on that also, so can we take a vote?
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Quigg,
Yes.
Chair Wong.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, great. Moving right along. We have item number 3 on our agenda for public communications. This is for persons wishing to comment on any item not appearing on our agenda. Public communications is limited to no more than 3 minutes. We'll give 3 minutes per speaker. And we would start if there's any speaker slips in the room and then go on to anybody online. Carmen?
I don't see any hands, and I don't have any speaker slips.
Yeah, but that's on the agenda.
Not right now. Okay.
Okay, great. So I've been notified that we have speaker slips, but they'll come up during the next agenda item. So if there's, this number 3 item is for any issues not on the agenda. If people have other comments, issues to raise, concerns for our community. We welcome public input, community discussion. So seeing that there's no other items, we can move on from public communications. We don't need a vote for that, right? Moving on to public hearing for item 4, and this is for design review for 8 Spring Valley Lane, an application to allow demolition of an existing 2-story residence and construction of a new 2-story residence in the single-family residential large lot R1LL zoning district. Roscoe, if we have a staff report, you can take it away.
Thank you, Chair Wong. I'd like to introduce Nestor Guevara, the project planner. Chair, before we begin, City Clerk would like to make an announcement regarding the translation services.
Great.
Good evening, Planning Commission Chair Wong and Planning Commissioners. Tonight, we did receive a request regarding translation services, and one of the applicants will be speaking Chinese and Cantonese, excuse me. And we have set up your laptops to where you could see the translation where he would be speaking Cantonese and you could follow along. There is a speaker that is, if you check your web browser, you will see that there is a way that you can view the Wordly app, and you can follow along as they speak. Please note, since Cantonese just rolled out last week, it will take just a few seconds longer for it to come through. If you want to listen in, you could plug into the headset that's provided to you on the dais, and you could listen in that way. I did offer the service to the applicant as well, so they could listen to what you're saying in Cantonese on Wordly as well. For people at home who want to follow along, you could scan the QR code that is on the screen, and you could follow along that way. If you also want to go to the web app, it is attend.wordly.ai/join/NZBM-4165, and I will be sharing screen later so everyone can see that as well. And if you have any questions regarding the services, I can gladly do so. And I could also be assistance at the dais for you if you need it.
So given that we have this translation app, do we need to, anybody in the room need assistance with that translation app? Or will it show up on the screen? Give them a minute to.
Actually, everyone could scan the QR code and they could go ahead and follow along. We do have a poster board here with a QR code that you could scan with your phone using the camera. And you could follow along, select the language you want to listen in. They have over 35 languages now. So you could do Cantonese, Finnish, Chinese, Spanish, and many other languages as well. So I'll be sharing screen in a little bit after. Actually, maybe I'll do it now, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Given that we're speaking in English, if there's non-native speakers that need to use the app, then we'll just flash the app up on the screen.
So this is the slide that you see here, where you could go ahead and scan this QR code, and then underneath it, you can see the link to go to the web page where you could see the translation. It's available where it's in type, and then you could also select it where you could hear it as well. And what you can see here now in a different window is what you will be able to see. And you just select the language that you want. So you could select Cantonese, English, Chinese, and Dutch, French, German, any of these. And once you select it, you could join, and you could see it as a follow. And to unmute, you just click this button here, and on your phone, I believe this unmute button is actually under, it's actually in the bottom right corner. And if you are in this room, I will recommend that you use headsets so we don't have feedback. And once again, I'm going to share the link really quick. And if you just want to give a few seconds for everyone to just take this information down and have their app open, maybe proceed to the project review. You could follow along with your phone, or it's on one of the tabs I opened for you. I could reopen it for you if you like. All right. So, Chair, would you like to proceed with the project, and I could help?
The only thing that's showing is that.
Scan this on your photo.
I did take a picture, but.
So if you open.
We have to.
All right. So I will go ahead and stop share screen, so then staff could do their presentation and I could help people around the room
Okay, appreciate taking the time out to get everyone set up and if they need that. So we can proceed.
But it should be there too, right?
You have it? So, here. So there it is. Once I full screen, it's hard to see it. So you can follow.
Right. Good evening, Chair Wong and Planning Commissioners. I'm Nestor Guevara, Associate Planner here at the City of MILLBRAE, and I'll be presenting the item tonight. The project address for the item tonight is 8 Spring Valley Lane, and the subject is a public hearing to review a design review permit to allow the demolition of an existing 2-story home and the construction of a new 2-story home in the R1 large lot zone. This slide here just shows the project's location. That red dot represents the project site. It's in the Mills Estate neighborhood, again in the R1 LL zone. This lot is in the R1 LL zone again, and it is a just over 11,000 square foot interior lot. It currently contains a 3,700 square foot 2-story home, and the proposal is to demolish that 2-story home and build a new 2-story home. This slide here just shows the existing site plan of that 2-story structure that's being proposed to be demolished. And this here shows the proposed site plan for the new 2-story home. The new 2-story home meets all the required development standards, including setbacks for both the first and the second story, as well as the landscaping requirements for the front yard and the rear open space requirement as well. Staff would also like to note the presence of the easement here on kind of the left side of the screen. That's a 22-foot access easement that's used to access the parking garage, the side-facing parking garage for the proposed home. And here is the proposed first floor plan. It includes 4 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms, and 1 half bathroom, a living room, dining room, kitchen, a reading room, and an exercise room. It also contains 2 garages, one a 2-car garage, and then a 1-car garage right next to it as well, which is again a side-facing garage. And here is the proposed second floor plan, which includes 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, as well as a front and a rear balcony. This is the proposed front elevation. The new home would be in a Spanish Revival architectural style. It includes materials such as smooth stucco, clay tiles, and wood. Here's the proposed rear elevation, the proposed left side elevation, and then the proposed right side elevation with, again, the 2 garages there. This slide just shows a 3D rendering depiction of what the proposed house would look like, including, it just gives a better view of the materials being proposed to be used. In terms of the neighbor response, a total of 5 adjacent owner consultation forms were sent out. Of these, 1 was returned in support of the project and 4 were returned in opposition to the project. The adjacent owner consultation forms for both 3 and 4 Spring Valley Lane mentioned concerns with parking as presented. The homeowner at 7B Spring Valley Lane also voiced their concerns regarding the proposed parking and access of the project. And staff reached out to the concerned neighbor at 10 Spring Valley, but we received no response. In analyzing these concerns, staff notes that the proposal includes a 3-car garage, which exceeds the minimum requirement in the R1 LL zone, which is for 2 covered parking spaces. As seen in this snip of the site plan here, there is actually 2 additional spaces there's additional driveway space for 2 additional cars to park next to the enclosed garage space. There is a 22-foot access easement, as noted earlier, used to access the garage and driveway spaces, and this is detailed out in the grant deed for the lot. And staff would also like to note that the fire department reviewed for any access concerns, and they had no concerns with the project as proposed. In order to approve the design review permit, the MILLBRAE Planning Commission would have to make these following findings. Number one, that the architectural, landscaping, and general appearance of the proposed building or structure and grounds are in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. Number two, that the project complies with all applicable development regulations. Number three, that the project will not cause a significant visual impact to neighboring views from principal rooms of residence. And number four, that the proposal is not detrimental to the orderly, harmonious, and safe development of the city, and will not impair the desirability of investment or occupation in the neighborhood in which the building or structure is proposed to be erected. Staff believes that these findings can be made by the Planning Commission as detailed in your staff report and in attachment number 1. And with that said, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission review the project, consider the public testimony and findings as presented, and consider adopting the attached resolution approving the design review permit application to permit the demolition of an existing 2-story residence and the construction of a new 2-story residence in the single-family residential large lot zoning district. That concludes staff's presentation. Staff is available for any questions, and the applicant is here as well with their presentation.
Okay, maybe we can start with questions for staff. Any clarifications about the design or project?
You did a great presentation. Thank you.
Okay. A couple questions I have, Esther. The lot, it appears that it's confusing because the drawings call out the lot parcel 24, and then there's a lot behind it, 26. And so I'm confused as to, is this lot encompass both lots or the first lot only, and then the setbacks in the open space for backyard, side yard, does it include these? It appears like the access road goes to another parcel in the back, right?
Sure. So this project is only specific to the parcel, let's say in the front, that's closest to the access road, that's Spring Valley is. The access road easement is part of the lot to the rear, but in terms of the setbacks and rear open space, it's all specific to the lot in the front. And it does meet all the both setback and open space requirements.
Can you tell me a little bit about the backyard open space requirement and how the housing house line, what setback there is for that is it to the lot? And I thought there was a fairly large open space requirement for backyards, and does this whole lot encompass that open space, or does it include the parcel in the back as open space?
It does not include the parcel in the back, it's just the parcel in the front. And the requirement for the rear open space is 1,000 square feet of rear yard open space. And this lot it's pretty sizable. It's over 11,000 square feet. So it does meet I'm not sure about the specifics of how much, it is in the staff report, how much open space is proposed in the rear, but let's see real quick. It is just over 2,000. 2,360 square feet of open space in the rear.
Okay. It's just very confusing to me because some of the drawings call out that parcel in the back, and then so it's confusing as to what's included in these calculations. Like, for example, just the very second page.
Maybe I think the confusion might be because of maybe the survey includes the lot in the rear. But this project is it's specific to the lot in the front.
And then we're also saying that the access road is part of parcel 2, but it's included in this plan because it may be included for access to the garage and then driveway
Yes,
and so forth.
there is an access easement on the grant deed for this project, for 8 Spring Valley.
So that second parcel in the back, then, is that allowed to be developed as another unit in the future?
It would be, yes. It is a separate unit, yes.
Okay, Catherine, did you have a question?
You know what, I do have a question. I was a little confused myself because I've driven up Spring Valley more than once. But the lot there, and there are 2 lots behind it, 7A, those are built on already, right? 7A?
I believe one of them is, the other one is currently vacant.
7A is built on, but not the one. There's a house on it. Okay, well, so 7B has housing on it right now, and 7A has housing on it right now. So who does that other lot belong to?
The lot that has the access easement?
The one that says 26? Is this one right here?
It's on this one.
10 is all just one.
Chair Wong, I think it's helpful for the commissioners to look at, refer to sheet A 1.0. It shows the lot that's in question. I think we should really just to identify which lot we're.
No, I understand what lot it is that we're addressing, but is the other one a real lot?
It's a separate lot, yes. It's
how-
not under consideration this evening, so.
I understand, but how would you get to it?
There's an access easement off of the,
Is that the access easement that's used to get into the garage for this unit?
that's correct.
So that could be built on because you would use the access easement that's part of this project, and it
That's
could
correct.
go to the back. So it's like a flag lot.
Correct.
Okay, yes, and I understand we're not talking about it tonight. But, you know, looking at all of them, it's like, this doesn't even show Spring Valley Road to speak of.
It's,
Right.
because Spring Valley Lane itself is it's basically an access easement. It's a private road.
Yeah.
So even in our zoning map, it's not shown.
Yeah, I know, it's like, I'm looking at it. And then 1225 MILLBRAE Avenue goes all the way to the end of these lots. Okay, so I understand now.
It is important to understand the property being developed and the calculations for the lot coverage and FARs and so forth. So the easement road that goes to the garage, that easement road is not included in the lot.
It is not, no.
Okay, so it doesn't include, it's not factored into the lot coverage, the FAR,
No.
et cetera. Okay, so that's excluded. Okay, thank you. Check my list. If I had any other questions. Can you talk a little bit about the design review and revisions? I see some of the drawings go back to 2021. What revisions have been made and what issues have been addressed?
In terms of the design, I'm not sure that there is a whole lot of change. I'm not sure if I know Roscoe had worked with the project applicant prior. From where I've taken over reviewing the project, the design itself didn't change too much. We did have them add more landscaping in the front to kind of continue that greenery that's present on 8 Spring Valley, or on Spring Valley Lane, sorry. But in terms of the architectural style, I believe it was always that sort of Spanish revival style, from my understanding.
Okay, I see in the drawings here, like on A 3.1, there were preliminary reviews, November, 2021, April 2022, June 2022, September 2022, January 2023, March 2023, April 2023. So maybe I'll ask that to the applicant about the changes he made. So it seems to be significant revisions.
And just to clarify a little bit more and just add to it, that might be that per our screening process, they might have had some sheets that they hadn't included yet that we request and we require per our design review checklist that would have then been added to kind of different dates.
Okay, if there's no other questions for city, just appreciate everyone's patience. We typically have a process for reviewing, and so usually in the next item up is we would ask the applicant to come up to talk about the project, talk about any issues that have been resolved in the project, and just a statement overall about discussion about the project. So if the applicant or the applicant's architect can come up.
Good evening, commissioners, city staff, and all the neighbors. My name is Wing Lee. I'm the architect of record. I'm going to make a really short presentation. I think Nestor did a wonderful job about the project, but I do want to add some of the questions the chair was asking about the genesis of the whole project. Actually, you saw the date. Actually, the project was, I think, first started in 2020, and I wasn't retained by the owner, Warren here. So there was another architect involved, and I think, no offense, but that proposal was proposing a 3-story building, and the lower floor is an ADU, and but the intent of the usage didn't change. Warren Lee here, in which he's going to present the project later. I have only known him for now 2 or 3 years. He is a good parent and good son, because the intent for this property development is always for his parents and also his 3 daughters and 1 son. 3 of them are here, and one of them actually flew all the way from New York, and she canceled the last flight last time 2 weeks ago because of the whatever happened. But we are here today, and I just want to go over the genesis of the design. To answer your question, Chair Alan Wong, we actually did start with a little bit more mid-century modern design at the beginning. But we worked closely with Roscoe and also the ex-senior planner. And then it is a much more contextual, sensitive kind of design to have terracotta roof that will blend into the entire neighborhood. It is a relatively larger site. We're talking about 11,000 square feet, and not to confuse everyone, the Spring Valley Lane, we're talking about 20 feet here. That's actually part of the property, okay? But it's like what Nestor was talking about. The front is allocated as the easement for the neighbors along here, okay? So, but the city of MILLBRAE Planning Department, they have their own calculation to how to calculate the correct area, usable area, and that's how we come up with the FAR and the lot coverage. Everything we're proposing here compliant with all the details from daylight, setback, open space, landscaping, drainage, you name it. So we have been working with a licensed landscape architect and also licensed civil engineer for the project. The site, you could also talk to the neighbors who have been living here for a long time. It's a slightly uphill lot. It's not a lot, but I imagine there may be some erosion when it rains a lot during rain season. So with this development, because of the requirement of the public works and all that. So that would address that, and that would take care of at least for the lot at the front and the lot in the back, per current standard. The design is pretty straightforward. Next page, please. So this is a proposed ground floor plan, and this is Spring Valley Lane coming in, 20-foot wide. So like what I said, Warren, well, this is going to be a multi-generational dwelling. It will house, you may think, wow, how come there are so many bedrooms? There are 6 bedrooms. Okay, is it a hotel, or is Warren trying to develop something for rental or group housing? But the fact is, well, 3 of his kids are here. His parent is not here tonight. So 1 suite will be for Warren's parents. And the size of the bed is a queen size bed. So we're not talking about like humongous bedroom, and there's a need for his family. There's a very small exercise room, a half bath. And actually, when Warren came to me, he really wanted to have basically 6 suites, you know, because, well, you can imagine if you have 2 kids and one has a suite, the other one doesn't, so go figure, right? So, but I also warn him that, well, you know, the size is basically dictated by all the guidelines requirement, right? It's not like, okay, you can build whatever you want, 8 bedroom or 8 suite, right? So he came along, and for example, these 2 bedroom, they share a Jack and Jill kind of bathroom. So if the 2 daughters have problem, you can come and talk to me. But that's one of the way to kind of keep the cost down in a sense. And not all of them are in Bay Area, but I think the one of them is planning to come back. I think it's part of the. It's better to live closer to your parents and family. So 2 more bedroom here, so 1 bedroom, so we're talking about 3. So this one could be the bedroom for Warren and his wife, okay? And the rest of the space, the entry is here, the living room, dining room for 8, and an open kitchen, that's about it. And the stair going up. And now talking about how come there are so many submittals, to be fair, some of them are not formal application or submission, but we have been working, going back and forth, and from the get-go, we're trying our best to comply the requirement, and we check and confirm that, okay, requirement for single families, 2 parking spaces only. We cannot propose more than 2 at the beginning, but okay, we submitted that, and then Warren started to talk to the neighbors. I personally think that, well, it makes sense, like if you're talking about 8 occupants, right? Well, although not everyone is driving their own car, right? But, well, maybe 3 parking spaces, and we're trying to be very sensitive and considerate by having 2 more spaces in the back. It just happens, like people like to drive here, like, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3 parking garage spaces. So it took some time for me to convince the planning department, okay, look, it makes sense the house is this big, and also we have concern from the neighbors. And the last thing you want is cars are going to park along Spring Valley Lane here, because I've been there so many times that I can confirm that it's not the most user-friendly road or lane, if you will, like garbage truck or FedEx guy. They will find a way to back up and get out. And during like trash day, the width of the lane will come down to less than 20 feet for sure. Anyway, getting back to here, so this is the ground floor plan. The entry is still facing the Spring Valley Lane. Our design approach is we're not maximizing the height. We did maximizing the FAR. The way the city has a formula that, well, any ceiling height taller than 9 feet, that will, you're not counting it one time, but with a percentage, like 120% or something like that. So it may seem bigger than it is, but there are some double height space here for the stairs. So that's why the number of the square footage went up too. Next, please. And then this is the second floor. The second floor plan, the footprint is much smaller than the ground floor. It's part of the city requirement to respect the daylight and the privacy of the neighbors. So for this levels, we have 2 suites. And I'm gonna let the kids fight, like who get which room and all that, or better view and all that. But I think Warren is going to be stuck at the corner looking at the backyard. Next, please. This is a roof plan. So the second floor profile is basically this. So it may be a little bit confusing and deceiving. And you see some gray area. This is the skylight, and these are the solar panel. As part of the requirement, our great state, so whether we like it or not, it is required to put solar panel. So I mean, it's good for the environment. Please. So these are the rendering, and while they may look very harsh because we were told not to put any landscaping here. So you could try to imagine if there are some trees here, so it will blend in to the neighborhood pretty well. And it may not be the best design, but I'm sure it's much better looking than the existing house. And like what I said, we're trying to be sustainable at the beginning of the design process. We went through the exercise. Well, what if we just renovate the existing house instead of tearing it down? But they are, like for example, the existing second floor, I'm not sure that was permitted. There's a lot of substandard kind of condition, including foundation, drainage, and seismic, and all those windows. Basically, it's almost like a complete gut. So, and the need for 6 or 5 bedrooms, it just makes sense to demolish it. I don't know the difference between these two, but basically you're standing on Spring Valley Lane looking at the front of the house. You may also wonder what those 2 vertical chimney-like elements are. They are actually a fake chimney, but all the flue from the bathroom, exhaust, they are all organized in a way so that they all come together and then go up. Instead of seeing all this chimney whenever you feel like the flue from the bathroom to stick out everywhere. And then the rest of the material palettes are very compatible with the neighborhood. Some wood, and as you know, natural wood is not the most, well, it's warm, it's nice, but it's hard to maintain. So there will be some wood-like materials to give you the warm feeling. And the garage door, the front door will be in wood, and the glazing will be slightly green. It's clear, but it's part of the energy requirement. But we're not proposing any highly reflective glazing, reflecting light onto neighbors and all that. So this is also the elevations. So because the rendering you look at before, it could be very deceiving, right? But these are the true elevation. That means you are standing in front of the proposed building. We are also trying to be very sensitive to the surrounding, like not having a big window looking into a neighbor's bedroom. Well, if you can see them, they can also see you. So it's good for both this house and also the neighbors. I have to say, well, this project is pretty straightforward. The front is the front, maximizing the view, addressing the frontage of the street. The back is the back, but as you could imagine, my job is to optimize all the view, and also the garage. Please. I think that will be it. Yeah. And I'm here for any questions you guys may have. Okay, thank you.
I appreciate the presentation from the owner's representative. We'll move on. Now, we may call you back to answer further questions, but for now, we'll move on to the public comment and the speaker slips. So right now I have in front of me 4 speaker slips. Are there any more, Carmen? Is that it?
No, I don't have any more speaker slips.
Okay. Thanks, Catherine. Catherine reminded me that if the owner or one of the family members would like to speak or on behalf of the project, we have an opportunity to do that. Okay, welcome to the podium.
Uh, 大家好，我係窩倫，咁咧呢個 project 咧做咗好多年，咁好多謝阿 Win 幫我哋去設計一個 project 咁好，係又適合我哋屋企，又適合嗰個 neighbor，咁咧我咧好希望咧就借我爸爸媽媽一齊住喺嗰度去。咁咧我3個女1個仔，個個都讀完書。咁咧我就想佢翻嚟屋企一齊住。咁咧我爸爸媽媽已經80歲，咁以前我爸爸退休之前咧都喺MILLBRAE做工。咁我好希望喺MILLBRAE有一間屋，等我爸爸媽媽一齊住。同埋我啲細佬哥，咁我好希望大家明白，我搬嚟MILLBRAE係因為MILLBRAE真係好嘅 city， 好嘅地方，讓我哋屋企人喺嗰度生活。好多謝你哋。
Okay, thank you. We have a translation app that seems kind of uneven in the translation.
That's correct. The Cantonese translation just rolled out last week. So then they did warn us that the translation service will get better as time goes. At this time, what I could say from the public speaker is he said he thanked the architect for working with them for so long and making all these changes, as well as, you know, he have a family here and his family has been here in the area for a long time. And he hoped to have a home for his family.
Okay, thank you. So we can go through the speaker slips for public comment. We'd like to limit it to 3 minutes per speaker, so you can use the full 3 minutes. We'll have a timer. And the first person we'd like to call up would be Wayne Mufara, Mr. Mufara, at 7 Spring Valley Lane. Welcome.
Hello there, I'm Wayne Mufara, I live at 7 Spring Valley. I have one question. The house itself, what is the size? Is it 6,000 square feet? Because it was changed a couple of times.
Well, Nestor give the official answer, Roscoe City staff. Even though it's right in front of me here, I'll let the
The
city speak.
proposed square footage is just over 5,600 square feet.
The reason I'm asking that question is, sorry. The reason I'm asking that question is, when I built my house in 2010, my house is roughly about 5,800 square feet. I had 3 garages and plenty of parking in front, not using the street whatsoever. And I was told I had to put a 4th garage in. He only has 2 garages and the same size house, number 1. That's real tight in my opinion, even though he has 2 carports. In my house, the design itself, I could park 10 cars in my driveway with no problem at all. That's limiting the amount of people. With 6 people in the house, 6, 7 people, you can have about 5, 6 cars, number 1. Number 2, the biggest issue I have is the easement going to the back house. Right now, they're using it as a driveway to park there. A year, 2 years down the road, they're gonna build a house there. So that cannot be used anymore. That's the easement driveway to the house, a flag lot, which is the same thing I have in my house. So that cannot be used whatsoever. So you're limited amount of parking they have. So main issue is parking, not the size of the house. Number 3 is, it looks like in the rendering, the house is sitting lower. It looks like they're carving the house in front down, the dirt. If they're carving the dirt out, they have putting a retaining wall in back. I don't see no evidence of that at all. So that's my main issue is parking, and mainly parking overall, anything. That has to be addressed. When you have 7, 8 people, you're gonna have at least 6 cars. No way on earth they're gonna park 6 cars in what they have, if they ever built a house and back. That'd be impossible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have up is Eunice Danley at 4 Spring Valley Lane. Welcome to the podium.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Eunice Danley, and the house that's going to be built is right across the street from me. I don't know what they're planning, but when you look at the house, it's quite a grade. I don't know if they're planning to take a lot of the dirt out, because it's quite steep. In the way it shows now, the house is like right on the road, so I don't know exactly how they're going to address that. And my other problem is the parking. If they have 6 cars, they also have a van for their business, and we just have a lot of problems with anybody parking on the road. And so that's my issue about the parking, basically. That I think that's what we're all worried about. Thank you.
Thank you, Eunice. Next up, we invite Wolfgang Fernandez, 3 Spring Valley Lane.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Wolfgang Fernandez from 3 Spring Valley Lane. First of all, I want to say that Warren has really worked very hard to communicate with us, and I appreciate it very much. My house is right across from his proposed house, and having lived now there for a few years, I really recognize the need to have the street clear of cars, because we just don't have space. As it was mentioned by the architect, when the trash can trucks come in, there's no space. We have issues above also with trees and all kinds, and the lines of the electrical lines. So also the concern of the adequate parking. Now, I'm a little confused because I had understood there was going to be 2, but now I heard there's 3. And I just hope that you guys can look into this and really make sure that issue is addressed correctly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wolfgang. Lastly, we have Vivian Su, 3 Spring Valley Lane. Welcome to the podium, Vivian.
Hi, I'm Vivian Shu. I'm Wolfgang's wife, living at 3 Spring Valley Lane. I think they all asked most of the question, and I would just like to ask, what's the estimated construction time for the house, a period of construction time?
Okay, yeah, sure, since you've been recognized, Wolfgang.
On the 2nd floor, they're building where the 2 bedrooms are on top. There's windows looking into the backyard. That's looking right into my house.
Okay, make note of that. Okay, at this point, do we take a vote to close public comment? Okay, and then we'll have a chance. Okay, maybe Catherine suggests we have a chance for the architects to provide rebuttal and statements to address the issues. Well, it's a little bit late, but if you can both go on. Ahead. So, yeah, and at this point, I invite the owner and the architect to provide a response to the comments.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I am the third daughter of Warren. I prepared a little brief comment about the need for this house. I am a recent graduate, the same as my older sister, and with the rising costs in San Francisco and in this economy, you can imagine why we want to live with our parents. And their generosity in allowing us to reside in their home is greatly appreciated, but it emphasizes the importance of ensuring that the house we're building in MILLBRAE can adequately meet our family's needs and create a comfortable living space for everyone. Additionally, additional rooms would be a significant step in achieving that goal. In the planning of our home, it has become evident that we require additional rooms to accommodate the needs of our family. Currently, my sister and I are sharing a room, and although this was amazing as kids, it's not as practical now that we are adults. It's quite inconvenient to our daily lives, as I have early mornings and my sister has late nights. Having separate rooms will not only offer us more privacy, but also provide the flexibility to organize our time and belongings more efficiently, ultimately enhancing our overall living experience in our new home. And as Wayne mentioned previously, our sister in New York plans on coming back to San Francisco to live with us. This is also another crucial aspect to consider. Considering when she does come to stay with us, she doesn't have any space with us and shares a bed with one of us, bunks up with one of us, which is fun and great when we were kids, but again, not practical as adults. The expansion of our living space with additional rooms would not only alleviate this challenge, but also ensure that everyone can enjoy their time together without compromising on comfort and privacy. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And back to Wing.
Mind going back to just the first one, the site plan? This one is good, thank you. Wing Lee here, the architect of record again. So I'm trying to clarify some of the questions the neighbors may have. So the current layout or the current design does have 3 cover garage spaces, which is 1 here, 2, the second one here, and the third one here. And they're not like randomly, like, oh, you know what, I drive a Mini, so maybe 10 feet by 15 is good. All these spaces are per city minimum requirement, so they are 10 by 20, okay? 10 feet by 20 feet, I'm sorry. We also provided like overflow parking here. I think the neighbor's concern is valid, like what I said, like 8 people, I don't know, maybe Warren's dad, 80 years old, is driving a Ferrari. I don't know, but 5 spaces, is it enough? You never get enough, I guess. And I would like to clarify one thing: the easement, which is part of the lot in the back, is stated clearly that it is an access easement. So no parking should be parked there. Now, well, people behave badly sometimes. So I would recommend that, well, as a part of the condition, maybe just paint it all these red, because in reality, let's say down the road, 10 years, 5 years later, there's a house built behind. Fire truck will have to access all the way from Spring Valley Lane and then get to the back. So it's good for everyone to have red painted. No parking, no stopping, fire access lane whatsoever to be painted there. I'm going to expand onto this too. Like what I said before, every time I went there, without naming any car, I always saw like car being partially encroaching parking onto the 20-foot Spring Valley Lane. So I don't live there, but I would recommend that while painting the whole thing, like red paint along Spring Valley Lane, no parking along here. So that it's good for everyone. One concern I actually has is per planning recommendation, well, more trees, the better, right? Well, it will screen the architecture, you know, I don't want to look at you, you don't want to look at me, right? So I would question what will be the appropriate number of trees at the front yard, considering the width of the lane is pretty narrow, 20 feet, but I assume fire department look at it and they were saying it's okay, but I think they still have another chance during building permit review. But because our planet is getting warmer, so I just don't know how to address all this issue. But 20 foot is not a very wide street, if you will. Now, in terms of the retaining wall, like what I said earlier before, we were trying to be very sensitive, and we did look at the possibility retaining the existing house. But like what I said before, it doesn't make sense anymore. But at the same time, the existing entry of the existing house is more or less in the center of the property facing Spring Valley Lane. And the elevation of that existing house entry, which is plus or minus 8 feet above the street elevation. I'm talking about here, this is street elevation, and the existing house elevation is plus or minus 8 feet. So we are not trying to propose something drastically different in terms of the degree of excavation. The proposed entry door elevation, which is exactly plus or minus 8 feet from this point. So to answer the question, I'm not a structural engineer, but we will have to work with a licensed structural engineer down the road. But along here, we have low retaining wall here. Now, you take the medicine, right? You pick the medicine. Well, Warren actually doesn't want to see any retaining wall. Well, and the landscape architect, well, you know what? If you have a patch of green, like all here, it feels like part of the street, it will be beautiful and wonderful. But you could consider when you think about, okay, and new or whatsoever, raining 10 consecutive days, if there's no proper retaining wall here, then all the soil will spill onto the Spring Valley Lane. So our wonderful civil engineer did talk about this, and whether you like it or not, I make the executive decision that we should have a retaining wall there. Now, having said that, well, it's a concrete retaining wall, it doesn't look good, and it looks really cold. And you know what? Planning department also has a requirement. No retaining wall should be taller than 30 inches. Certainly, you can put tile, gold leaf there, or mural whatsoever, but I think we have a compromise to address the potential erosion because it's slightly uphill, right? Water will go down, right? But at least we are retaining all the soil here, okay? And then they will be drained to a retaining system here that is also listed in the submission. And then furthermore, regarding the house, there will be retaining wall here along the footprint of the building footprint, okay? Now, regarding the height and all that, I cannot answer that today, but I imagine this is not sand, so I would imagine like typical shallow foundation, 2, 3, 4 feet will be sufficient. What else? Now, even the step here, like these are all pavers, and we had a serious talk with the landscape architect. The landscape architect, oh, it looks very nice. You can wander around the step as you are ascending from here to the entry. But we did talk about, well, all things will move. So it makes sense to have some kind of foundation system to anchor each of these pavers so that over time, it will not slide towards the front. So we did talk about all these things, but this is just a design review meeting, so I don't want to get to all technical, but those issues will be addressed. Yes. Lester, do you have the number? I'm getting to that age, I can't read small print. Yeah, we do have that. It's just too small, I cannot read it.
So for the proposed first level, it is just under 4,000 square feet. And the second level is a little bit over 1,200 square feet.
Chair Wong, if I could, I advise that the commission request that questions be directed to the commission. Thank you.
Earlier, he mentioned that the backyard is about 1,000 square feet. According to that drawing, that's nowhere near 1,000 square feet. An open space should be a lot more than 1,000 square feet. When I built my house, they told me it should be 1/3 to 2/3. But there's a
Right, okay.
total big difference there.
Okay, appreciate your comment. Okay, so we've heard from the applicant, from the city, from neighbors. Appreciate everybody's input. We've heard a rebuttal back from the architect and the owner. I think for that, we got a couple other comments in. So at this point, do we have a motion to close public comment?
Move to close the public comment.
And second? Okay,
Couldn't hear you.
I second.
okay, so appreciate everybody's input. For now, we're going to take a vote to close public comment.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Quigg,
Yes.
Chair Wong.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Public comment is now closed.
Okay, at this point, we go into a little bit of deliberation and discussion amongst the Planning Commission. We've heard a lot of comments, a lot of statements from the applicants, thoughts, issues, discussion, comments. Anybody would like to start?
Sure. I just want to clarify again, only because the last question that came up, perhaps staff can just kind of tell them the square footage of the back open space. It looks like it's what is supposed to be. Is that correct?
So the requirement under MILLBRAE Municipal Code is 1,000 square feet in the rear, rear yard of open space, and the proposal is for 2,360 square feet.
Okay. And based on that last picture that we saw on the screen, there are 5 parking spaces available, 2 outside and 3 inside? That would not be part of the easement, correct?
That's correct. It would be in the property itself.
So basically, they are providing 5 spots.
3 enclosed parking garage spaces and
the
driveway
2
space for potentially 2.
Still on their property.
It's still on their property, yes, not on the easement.
Thank you.
There was a question about window alignment. Can you tell us if the windows do line up and what's the distance between them?
In the back.
I believe the question was on the second story rear plan for the proposed. And I believe the only windows on that side of the building on the second story are bathroom windows. However, there is a rear balcony there in the rear. And I don't believe we have, at least on the plan set, we don't have the distance with the neighboring house.
It says at the side or the back, where is the nearest neighbor? On the side or the back? Side, yeah?
It would be, I believe it's one of the 7 Spring Valley ones. Just let me check real quick.
May want to,
So it would be the neighbor closest, I believe, is south 7A, Spring Valley,
Okay,
which I believe it is the side, yeah.
yeah. With the curve and everything, it gets a little.
And on that side, on the second story, I do not believe there are windows.
Okay, thank you.
so you mentioned that they're bathroom windows, so you're implying that they're going to be frosted, they won't be opaque, they'll be opaque and you can't see through them?
The applicant might be able to answer that question better, but they are, smaller than egress windows that would be required for a bedroom or living space or something like that.
So a question for the architect is, are those second-story windows in the rear, are they going to be frosted, opaque, or have they decided?
If the applicant please speak in the mic. Thank you.
I don't want to make the decision now, but it could be translucent windows. It goes both ways, right? The privacy issue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. More comments, questions, or issues, or discussion issues?
No. The deck that is there that was just brought up, is that in the back or is it on the side?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The deck, did you say?
Yeah, that's in the rear balcony.
Okay, and there, that's 7A or 7B in the rear, or is that part of, there's nothing there in the rear, right? That's the vacant lot?
It would be towards 7 Spring Valley, I believe.
Back, part of it has a house behind it, and part of it is just right now the lot, right?
Yes, but I believe it would face towards the currently vacant lot.
Thank you.
Any other further comments? Okay, so just digging into this a little bit. The house is very large. We're seeing more and more in our community applicants come in requesting very much larger buildings, almost, this goes up to the maximum FAR limits, but it's within the code, so it is to the maximum allowed. There are really well thought out parking plans with 3 car parking garage and additional for 2 in the back. I don't foresee this house, being utilized as, kind of a multi-family or multi-unit dwelling. It's not like there's ADUs for additional tenants or separation of the house to act like a duplex or otherwise. The bedrooms are very modest, so they do act as, bedrooms for, almost single occupants, almost like 10-foot by 10-foot size. So it's not like you're going to put a whole family living in that bedroom, or there's not even 2 master bedrooms, there's a single master bedroom. So the bedrooms are very modest. So it appears that all the intent of the designs is as intended for the large family, but not growing multifamilies. I would say that the parking issue, so then that brings into the question about the number of cars likely to be used in the future, the construction and the staging and the use about access to the rear. Right now, there is no house in the rear, so there wouldn't be a need for additional habitation and parking and tenants. So I see that easement right now, as it is, it almost acts as like there's a drive to the back, so it possibly can even fit more cars along that private easement. And then the lot in the back, it appears to be owned by the same occupant, right? It's marked in the drawing as owned by the same owner. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So I see that during the construction of this, the back lot can be used a lot for staging, materials, prepping construction, contractors' materials and equipment, so that it facilitates the construction so that it won't be hopefully blocking Spring Valley Lane and access to the other houses while this construction is going on. So that's a positive. I think one of the biggest concerns is just growing in our city. There's just a tremendous clamor for more and more housing. The cost of housing is very expensive. But when we do come across some of these projects that are presented before us, we do look at a lot of these issues about all the neighborhood concerns. Parking comes up a lot, privacy issues, size and occupancy, and how it's going to be used in the future. But what I see a little bit from this project is I really see really well thought out planning. And the architect mentioned planning's been in progress for three years now. And the sheer number of drawings and the details put into this project, from all the landscaping and the drainage, the retaining walls, not just, and in addition to the architecture, with incorporating kind of the MILLBRAE style with the terracotta roof tiles that kind of mimic the Mediterranean Spanish style of our city, the changes that have been made. If you do have a large development in your community, and then some of the neighboring properties I see up and down, MILLBRAE Avenue, I do see large developments, not necessarily along Spring Valley Lane, but just the neighbors a little bit to the north. There's houses up to like 7,000 square feet, enormous. So that this 5,000 square feet development is not the biggest house in your area. If you do have large developments, I would think that these are one of the best types of projects and architects that we can hope for to really improve our neighborhoods and develop our neighborhoods and really elevate the neighborhoods. Design, the details, the sheer number of drawings, the length of time put into this effort, the fact that the owner owns the property in the back for staging and construction and facilitating that, the size of the rooms that reflect the intent of housing his children and not expanding into like duplexes or quadplex and thinking it's going to be some hotel in the future. It's basically a mini mansion here that we're looking at that can be seen as a positive for your neighborhood and elevate and then set precedents for future developments and growth too. So, I mean, this is kind of, I see it setting kind of a good standard. I know there are a lot of growing concerns and neighbor concerns, and hopefully through the 3 years of planning process, they've addressed a lot of that. Looks like they have somewhat, there's like 5 parking spaces. And some of the windows on the side and on the rear, they're very minuscule. If you know, for some of my projects, I'd like bigger south-facing windows because they let in a lot more light. And this house faces north, so the big windows are on the north. They let in a little bit more light in the front. And aesthetically, it has a really nice appeal with the kind of, you know, symmetrical structure. And like I mentioned, all the architectural elements for the city is consistent with the city in Mediterranean and Spanish colonial style. So I'm tending to appreciate the project more. I hear the neighboring concerns. I'm not sure if there's any other concessions or recommendations that we can give to help the neighboring concerns. I've been trying to think about that over the weekend, but they do have that easement on the side for additional cars and then the 5-car parking spots. Those are just some of my thoughts offhand. Other commissioners' thoughts, tendencies?
I just want to say it's an absolutely beautiful design. The house is beautiful. It's very rare for us to see a front facade with no garages on it, that they're tucked around the back. I wish every lot could do that. It's impossible, but it makes for a very grand home. As for the parking, it exceeds the minimum requirement by 2.5 times. We can't ever control how many cars belong to a family, but that is well exceeding our minimum standards. Yeah, I think it's an absolutely beautiful design, and with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Where's my thing here? Oh, not that one. This one. Approve the resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of MILLBRAE approving the design review permit for the demolition of an existing 2-story single-family residence and the construction of a 2-story residence in the single-family residential large lot zoning district at 8 Spring Valley Lane.
I'll second that.
Okay, Carmen, can we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Vice Chair Quigg?
Yes.
Chair Wong?
Yes.
I would like to make a comment, though, for the neighbors. It's always difficult. The 7A and 7B got built, and there was always questions. I remember it up there when there was nothing. Eunice was there, and what was it, the Schneider shop down the corner or something? Rizzo, yeah, the Ritz shop. So it's always difficult. I don't know what we're going to do when they want to build the lot behind, but they're going to have to know that they're going to have to park within the house. It's just very difficult, and it's progress, I guess.
Yeah, there is.
I just hope all your kids do stay there and live with you.
These projects are always difficult to review. We really appreciate neighbors' input and concerns, and they're valid. I hope the neighbors can continue to discuss and work together. But there is a 10-day appeal process. If the community puts in an appeal, it may go to the city council for their input and review. And then the comments and the issues that we've discussed today, they'll have the same discussion.
Chair, if I may, motion passes 3-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Carmen. And so appreciate everybody's time, energies, thoughts. We really take these things seriously. There is that 10-day right of appeal process. Thank you. Okay. So we have, if anybody wishes to stay for the remainder of the meeting or can be let go, it's up to you. There is going on next with our agenda here, item number 5 of new business. And we go back to Roscoe and the city, if there's any new business.
None.
Okay. And given no new business, Roscoe, are there any staff updates?
Yes, thank you, Chair Wong. I do have quite a Quite a few updates this evening to update the Planning Commission. First of all, the city is kicking off the Community Benefit District. And the kickoff meeting is this Wednesday, October 18th at 1 p.m. and it'll be located at the library conference room. This will be, this effort is being spearheaded by New City America, and it'll be a kickoff meeting that'll go over the formation of the new downtown MILLBRAE Community Benefit District or Special Benefits District, the goals of this benefit district, and then the timelines, and there'll be a Q&A as well. So that's this Wednesday, October 18th at 1 o'clock at the library conference room. Additionally, the city will be taking a synthetic turf ordinance to the city council next week on October 24th. And the recommendation to the council will be to prohibit the installation of artificial turf in the city. So that's one other piece of information the council may, the commission may want to be aware of. That information on that can be found on the city's website under economic development. There's more information about that specific ordinance. Speaking of ordinances or regulations, the city, as I mentioned the last meeting, issued an RFP for residential design standards in the city. I'm happy to announce that we received proposals from 3 firms, and we have selected Lisa Wise Consulting to assist the city in the preparation of the residential design standards. A contract with Lisa Wise Consulting should be going to the council sometime in November. And then shortly after that, perhaps I think after the new year, we'll start having neighborhood meetings and study sessions with the Planning Commission, City Council, and so forth. Another piece, Planning Commission training. There's a training session hosted by 21 Elements, and that's on October 30th. Dinner will be served, and dinner starts at 5:30 to 6 o'clock, and the workshop is from 6 to 7:30. This is at the San Mateo Library Oak Room. So we'll, for any commissioners that's interested, we'll send out information on that, and feel free to register. Lastly, as you know, we have a vacancy in the Planning Commission, and the city clerk and the city council will be holding interviews for the vacancy at the next meeting on the 24th. And that is the updates I have this evening.
Okay, appreciate all the good work you're doing and all the updates. Moving on to the final item of our agenda. Oh.
Any updates on any projects such as Office Depot, the one that's behind the Pancake House, or the El Rancho? Those are 3 that are pretty much in the works. I was just kind of wondering if you had some kind of update.
For the Office Depot project, that is still under permit review. And we expect them to resubmit sometime in the next couple of weeks. This process typically takes a few months because they have to meet building code and fire code, and there's several code compliance comments. But that's going through the permit process. Same thing for the Anton project. Still going through the permit process for that. And they did indicate to us, we hold bi-weekly meetings with both of these applicants, and they have both expressed that they will be resubmitting in the next few weeks. So it's still moving along.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And what about the one that did not come to us at all that was behind the pancake house?
That one, the
See green
the
stuff
developer
around.
for that project, that was an SB 35 project, indicated that they wanted to resubmit under, not under SB 35, but under a design review permit application. So we have not received an application from them yet. They did send us some schematic elevations, but other than that, it's been quiet on that front.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, and with that, final call for planning commissioner comments. Any? Catherine?
I just want to mention that Friday night is the MILLBRAE Volunteers of the Year dinner. And there might be a few tickets left if someone is interested. The recipients or the honorees for the event will be, or are Steve Henderson. He's on the Park and Rec Commission. And Carol Krasilnikoff. She's on a Cultural Enhancement Commission. And the student is Stella Baltazar. And those are the honorees for the year. I just kind of wanted to put it out there because people may not know about it. If anyone is interested, please give me a call. And coming up soon after that is fundraiser for the MILLBRAE Community Foundation for the holiday Christmas tree, of the holiday tree, and you can purchase a star or make a donation for a hand-painted star. So watch the websites. Thank you.
Chair Wong, I forgot to mention one more update. In November, the commission will be seeing policy document that staff will be taking to the commission regarding vehicle miles traveled and the recommended approach that we will be taking to assess transportation impacts under the California Environmental Quality Act. Just wanted to give you a heads up that it's called VMT SB 743, state legislation. Before this SB 743, the transportation impacts were evaluated based off level of service. So essentially, how long you wait at a stoplight, whether it's like a minute, 2 minutes, and there's certain level. It's if you don't wait very long, it's level service A, and the worst is F, where you wait really, really long. That was the old way of doing it. With this new legislation, cities are required to adopt VMT, which is different methodology, a framework of assessing transportation impacts based off of where you have to go to different amenities. So the further you have to go, more transportation impact. If you're in an urban area close to a lot of amenities, schools, such and so forth, then you have a lower transportation impact. So that policy document will be coming to the commission next month, one of the meetings, likely the second meeting. So it's a very technical document, but we will walk you through the recommendations and policy.
Is that a document conducted by a consultant for the city of MILLBRAE or regional or county?
We had assistance from MTC, Fear and Peers, who helped MTC develop the VMT. We had assistance from a consultant, and we plan to have a consultant to assist with any questions.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? I was over at the farmers market on Saturday, and then I noticed San Mateo County Transportation, they were doing a survey. They had a QR code link to do a survey for community input for developments along major corridors, 101 El Camino, looked like it was from like South San Francisco all the way down to MILLBRAE. You might find that on the San Mateo County Transportation website. And I think that's all I had. Appreciate everybody's time, and have a safe and happy Halloween. Thank you. Adjourned.